We thank you so much for tuning in to UBC News tonight. Let's start with a look at the top stories. President Museveni cautions Ugandans on lifestyle. NADS liaison lawyer Patrick Katabazi subjected beneficiaries to 11 million pay kickback to his firm. ICT Minister Chris Baryomunsi launches Uganda Broadcasting Corporation new board of directors. While Uganda women volleyball team in Cameroon ready for the do. It's news tonight. Welcome once again. My name is Micheal Lukomwa with the lady herself, Elizabeth Nakakoni, our sign language interpreter. Prime Minister Robin Nabanja has ordered the suspension of the planned eviction of people in Chegegwa district by the office of the Prime Minister. This follows complaints from Chegegwa district leaders that a team of officials from the office of the Prime Minister had given the over 150,000 people settled in Kazinga Town Council, Rentuha Sub-County and Mpara Town Council that they should prepare to vacate within 3 days. We have details to this report.
The leaders led by Jackson Kafuzi, the Deputy Attorney General and Member of Parliament from Chegegwa, briefed the Prime Minister at her office in Kampala that people are spending sleepless nights and are hardly engaging in government programs due to eviction threats. Kafuzi and the LC5 chairperson Chegegwa District Biamkama John Chisoke say that officials from OPM have been in that area telling people to vacate the land immediately.
Minister Hilaronek has made his intention known to evict people from our land, from Kazinga Town Council, from Rentuha Sub-County, and from Mpara Town Council. That area right now, off-head, we could be having more than 150,000 people in the 3 sub-counties. It is heavily populated, heavily developed, fully occupied or encumbered, but he wants to evict people.
The disputed area covers Kazinga Town Council, Rentuha Sub-County and Mpara Town Council with the government-aided and private schools, health centers and other public installations, such as churches and mosques.
There are government programs which have been given to our people so as to develop, to get household incomes, like milk dairies, 4 in Kazinga, the coffee hallers, then in the Rentuha Sub-County, there are 18 schools. There is also a seed school which has been constructed by over 2.8 billion.
The Prime Minister Robin Nabanja stopped all planned evictions by officials from her office. Nabanja says that she'll consult the President on the matter, but in the meantime the status quo must remain, and instructed all officials from her office not to dare going to the area.
I want to stop you from doing any activity related to eviction in that place until when the President guides me otherwise. I don't even want you to step there because we don't want to hear issues that so and so was injured or done what until when the President guides me on the matter. So in the meantime, status quo.
Bafachi, who preferred to talk off camera, said that he is being threatened with some death by some people who were present at the meeting.
Threatened that within 3 days they will be off their land, but we want to appreciate you, Right Honorable Prime Minister, for meeting us today and giving us hope that nobody will be evicted from that land.
During the meeting, the Prime Minister asked Bafachi to explain why they want to evict people from their Bibanja, but had no explanation and could not reveal who the investor was that is going to grow has avocado in the disputed land. It should be recalled that in 2018, Charles Bafachi was arrested for allegedly grabbing a 200-acre piece of land in Kazinga village, Rentuha Sub-County in Chegegwa district, by the Commission of Inquiry into Land Matters, led by Justice Catherine Bamgemerere. December Fachi is accused of leading an eviction of over 60,000 people from 28 villages in the current Chikuwe district, and to date, the people are still living in internally displaced people's camps. Shaidat Nasakum, UBC News.
The Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authority and State Enterprises has learned that NADS liaison lawyer Patrick Katabazi subjected beneficiaries to paying kickbacks to his firm. Katabazi, who was appearing before the committee to respond to inquiries relating to mismanagement of farmers' funds, distanced himself from responding to the allegations leveled against him by politicians. Susan Naonga was at Parliament and she reports.
How do you end up with this kind of situation?
The NADS liaison lawyer Patrick Katabazi appeared before the Parliamentary Committee on Commissions, Statutory Authority and State Enterprises to account for the 39 billion shillings he received from NADS to pay off arrears of over 700 claimants. Katabazi confirmed having received the 39 billion which he gave to the intended beneficiaries, but however noted that there was a funding gap of 75.9 billion required to complete the project.
You got 39 billion and you paid direct to the claimants. So where are you working for nothing?
Payments are still ongoing, and so far 39 billion has been directly paid to beneficiary, forwarded to us by the plaintiffs, covering both beneficiary claims, legal and administrative expenses.
Because of the contradiction averred to the committee by NADS and the embattled Patrick Katabazi, the two parties were subjected to an oath.
So all of you are going to be on oath. Clerk, please prepare.
Solemnly swear by the Almighty God that the evidence I shall give
Shall be the truth, the whole truth, so help me God.
During the inquiry, the committee learned that out of the 39 billion, Patrick Kichoncho only managed to give accountability of the 27 billion shillings to NADS.
When they received the money from NADS, did they transfer the money to the beneficiaries? The document they are presenting is not representing that.
The committee also established that Katabazi underpaid the beneficiaries and also allegedly solicited for kickbacks from the beneficiaries.
All of those people who were supposed to receive money from the lawyer, they would go to the bank and someone would say, unless you deposit so much, you will not withdraw the money. That's what was there. So
the committee found out that each of the beneficiaries, among them Siraji Masiko, Ruth Tukahira, among others, were forced to transfer back some money to Pathways Law Firm belonging to Patrick Katabazi.
I was supposed to get 227,811,771. Immediately after getting that money, we were ambushed by the broker of the lawyer.
The beneficiaries testified having forced by Katabazi to open up bank accounts in Centenary Bank where they would be paid, contrary to their existing bank accounts, and further forced to sign on withdrawal and deposit forms.
So we were forced to open this account where they had already planned their deal to deduct our money.
In a heated cross-examination, Katabazi informed the committee that some of the beneficiaries had agreed to a deduction of 30% of their money to meet their legal fees and expenses.
That sometimes their money would be banked and then withdrawn later before they get it from their accounts.
There are those who were contributing money for legal expense, for running the case at the initial stage. But again, there are those who had never made any contribution.
Nonetheless, members sought to know whether the beneficiaries were not in any way conniving with the lawyer to overcost or to accommodate his kickbacks. The committee tasked Kichoncho, together with all claimants present, to make a statement with the CID after Kichoncho failed to provide the required documents to the committee. However, the committee closed inquiries on NADS and is expected to visit claimants in the field before presenting the final report. Susan Naong and Gloria Gritabinji reporting for ABC TV.
Still in Parliament, the ICT committee has summoned Ministry of Finance officials over failure to fund Uganda Broadcasting Corporation budgetary obligations and failure to implement the presidential directives to UBC. It should be noted that last financial year, President Museveni directed Finance to release 30 billion shillings to UBC to upgrade its broadcasting technology, but to date, the directive has not been honored. Philip Aguta attended the committee proceedings and filed this report.
Otherwise, our people up down there who can't afford monthly subscription.
While interfacing with the State Minister for Finance, Henry Musasizi, and UBC management, the ICT committee members expressed concerns as to why the Minister of Finance has persistently failed to fund UBC.
Other agencies get over 70%, but our UBC gets 30%. We feel that there is something that needs to be addressed. We accept that you have resource constraints, that is acceptable, but within that, let our UBC also benefit to a percentage that is matching with the other agencies.
As we deliberate and talk about this, we should be mindful about the fact that this is the only broadcaster we have as a nation, as a government. It should be in everybody's interest to make sure that the corporation works, serves, performs to the duties expected by the much wider public.
The committee also expressed dissatisfaction over the failure by the same ministry to implement the presidential directives of financial support towards UBC to upgrade its broadcast technology.
If a directive is made like that, at least some percentage of the money should be found and given so that we should be in position to have that excuse of saying that the money was not enough, that's why it was not implemented into details. By just saying that completely nothing was given, I think it is not good. We should be in position to save UBC from the position where it is, because it is a corporation of the government which is supposed to.
We want to request that a supplementary, if there is any supplementary that will come, finance would include supplementary to provide for the allocations that we are provided for in the last financial year. They were not provided. They don't exist anywhere in this current year's budget. Those are among other prayers that would want you to respond to.
According to UBC Deputy Managing Director, last financial year, UBC only received 8 billion out of 24 billion. And this financial year, UBC's budget has been reduced from 30 billion to 6 billion.
This financial year, for example, we have our prayer, in the budget process was that UBC is appropriated about 30 billion. But we have been informed, and it's in the budget statement, that only 2.4 billion will be provided this financial year for budget support, 1.5 going to our recurrent budget, and another 800 million as wage support. And we think this is unfortunate. And again, the committee raised the matter that this failure by the ministry to appropriate budget as guided by the committee and the finance committee is unfortunate and should be addressed.
The State Minister for ICT, Godfrey Kabianga, told the committee members to consider the issues of funding to UBC and the ministry as seriously so as to meet their mandate.
But I would also like to report that it's not only UBC which is which has a funding gap, even the ministry itself. For instance, this financial year, this quarter, the Department of Information and the National Guidance received zero as far as non-wage is concerned.
However, the Minister for Finance, Henry Musasizi, says most of the presidential directives to write off UBC utility debts are in progress, and the presidential directive of 30 billion will be effective next financial year.
That in line with the HE's directive to provide 30 billion to UBC starting financial year 2024-25, this has been programmed in the medium-term expenditure framework for financial year 2024-2025.
Philip Aguta for UBC News at Parliament.
Still to do with UBC, the Minister for Information and Communication Technology and National Guidance has officially inaugurated a new board of directors for the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC. The 7-member board will oversee the corporation's performance during the tenure spanning from 2023 to 2027. The swearing-in ceremony took place at the UBC boardroom and was presided over by Her Worship Lamunu Pamela Ochaya, representing the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary.
James Tunsime.
Ibrahim Makoma.
I, Sarah Namumbia.
The new board comprises a mix of experienced individuals from various fields aimed at steering the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation toward continued growth and innovation. Notable members include Mr. James Tumusime, who is the chairman, Mr. Ibrahim Makoma, a lawyer by profession, joining as a new member, Honorable Namumbia Sarah, a seasoned member contributing her valuable experience, Honorable Hamlet Kabushenga, the founder of the Great Lakes Region University, a new addition to the board, Turia Hikayo Mary Paula, Moses Watasa, a member and commissioner from the ICT Ministry, and Honorable Tezra Jamwa.
A common good that we offer as Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, we really call upon everybody to come on board and make sure that Uganda Broadcasting Corporation becomes a national pride. All the other private sectors should be proud to come and train from here. It's unfortunate that in the past, UBC has been looked at as a competitor because we are all going for the same share of wallet. We are all looking at the same basket to survive. But all national broadcasters, and through you, Honourable Minister, want to thank the President who has categorically put it in writing that the national broadcaster ought to be funded and not left to swim or sink.
Honorable Chris Bariomonsi, the ICT Minister, commended the board's selection process, considering qualifications, experience, diversity, and the value each member brings to the corporation. He discussed the liberalization of the media space since the early 90s and announced the waiving of taxes and areas for UBC starting this fiscal year 2023-24.
To that end, the outstanding arrears like taxes, URA, UCC and others, those have been waived. And number two, there are obligations which you cannot write off, like say NSSF contributions. You can't say you have waived them off because these are savings of the staff. So those ones, that burden we have shifted it to Ministry of Finance, so they will have to be built in the budget, and then they will be paid. And then we are going to inject you with something to give you financial health.
Godfrey Kabyanga, the State Minister for ICT, reminded the new board that they are representatives of the Ministry of ICT, urging them to avoid conflicts of interest. He also advocated for UBC to maintain uninterrupted broadcasts despite financial challenges, especially given the upcoming 2026 election roadmap.
You are here representing the ministry. You are not part of management. You are here representing the ministry. So be in touch with the ministry. But sometimes when you appoint a board, then they also create their own kingdom. And anytime when the minister says what's happening, no, you as policy. But I'm the one, you are there, you are my eye and ear in that. You eventually become part of management. And then you start defending management all the time. No, you are supposed to give them direction. You are not supposed to keep defending them.
Members of the board expressed their unity and teamwork, underscoring the challenges of transforming a parastatal into an enterprise and leveraging technology's importance on the global economy.
We pledge to diligently continue on the path which was disrupted by COVID, to revamp this organization, to be professional, to guide our staff.
My friends, we are very, very fortunate. We have been given a lucrative product, and it is the highest because I checked. The global economy is a $90 trillion economy. 10% of that is consumed by the information and communication industry.
We are now going to make sure that we work And I want to ask the management that if Honorable Tesla, what she said, that we are like stepping on your toes, was true, this time we are going to step on the hollow fort.
Uganda Broadcasting Corporation holds the distinction of having the widest geographical reach in the country, making it a vital platform for disseminating information and fostering national unity. Expectations are high for UBC to continue its journey of growth, innovation, and service to the nation, inspiring Uganda.
The Civil Society Budgetary Advocacy Group has warned of tough times ahead due to the suspension of new loans from the World Bank. Julius Mukunda, the Executive Director, CSBAG, says the only way out of the mess is through government negotiating with the World Bank.
Losing a multilateral lender such as World Bank will have dire consequences to Uganda's economy, warns the Civil Society Budgetary Advocacy Group.
People who say that we are going to survive, let me tell you, they have not gone to public schools. And that's where World Bank is putting money. People who are saying that we should survive, they have not taken their children to public hospitals. When they fall sick, they go to India. People who are saying we should survive, they don't know the cost of electricity. And the World Bank was going to provide us free electricity. People who are saying, those who are saying we should survive have nothing to do with survival. They are thriving. So the rest of Ugandans want to thrive. Survival, we are tired of surviving. It is just too much for us.
A decision here. When we were making that decision, we knew it would have repercussions. Okay? And we are prepared and we are strong about the decision we made as a house. The moment we show any signs of weakness and panic, it means we don't know what we are doing, we don't know what was coming. We knew threats would come, people would try to do what. So please, let us be calm.
In an exclusive interview with UBC, Julius Mukunda, the Executive Director, CSBAG, underscored the importance of a mutual relationship between the bank and Uganda.
We need to start negotiating as soon as possible before the effect sets in. That's very critical. But something you also mentioned, I think is very critical. It is also high time we step back and re-examine the way we manage public finances in this country. So that if you have a long time friend like World Bank, who have been with you for the last 40 years, and he puts a rag under your feet, you need to sit and say, okay, if a situation like this is likely to happen, how am I prepared? And how are you going to get prepared? You get prepared by having enough reserves.
Before the recent announcement that has sent shockwaves, the bank was funding a number of projects that were up and running.
55% of our multilateral credit is from the World Bank. So definitely, if they put a stop on these things, we are likely to be affected. But there is something that people have not read probably in this statement. The World Bank says we are suspending new funding, but we are going to be more rigorous on our third-party monitoring of the existing projects. For me, that is even more threatening than stopping the funding. Why? Because I know our implementation is extremely very weak.
CSBAG is therefore urging government to have roundtable discussion with the multilateral lender as soon as possible before the fund suspension starts to bite. Mariona Wori, UBC.
Relatedly, the central bank is yet to quantify the full effect of the World Bank suspension of loans to Uganda. However, while delivering the monetary policy statement for August 2023, the Deputy Governor, Micheal Ego, highlighted some of the probable consequences of the suspension.
The Monetary Policy Committee has lowered the central bank rate to 9.5%. The lowering of the CBR is intended to boost liquidity in the financial market. After peaking at 10.7% in October 2022, inflation has steadily decreased below 5% faster than expected, says Micheal Ego, the Deputy Governor.
This downward inflation trend is predicted to continue in the coming months due to lower international food and fuel prices, better agricultural supply, and decreasing inflation expectations. Although the global inflation remains relatively high, it is getting closer to the targets set by central banks in advanced economies. The international trend could help reduce domestic inflation pressures.
Asked on the projected economic impact of the suspension of new loans to Uganda by the World Bank, the Deputy Governor had this to say.
But fundamentally speaking, we know that aid to Uganda is one of the fundamental factors that affects the exchange rate. At least when the aid is cut and has been budgeted, and it of course means that there are a number of scenarios that one can consider. Either you cut the budget, or you replace the financing with more expensive financing, or you could even do net domestic financing, issuing more government securities in order to replace that. But of course, it does come at a price. Now, importantly, if the aid from the World Bank was coming in hard currencies, such hard currencies would have contributed to the build-up in the reserves of the central bank, and then we would give the government the shillings in exchange for that. So it would contribute to the building of the reserves. So depending on the import content of that project aid that we're expecting from the World Bank that might have been cut off and cannot be replaced, then it might slow down the rate at which we can build up the reserves.
Economic growth is expected to recover gradually, ranging from 5% to 6% in the current fiscal year. Private consumption, investments in extractive industries, and improved exports are anticipated to catalyze the recovery. Dennis Igoa for UBC News.
These days, our homes are no longer just the places we live. It's where we attend meetings, go to class, keep each other safe, and entertain ourselves. To do this smoothly, you need a reliable internet connection. Buy the MTN WakaNet router, which connects up to 32 devices and get a free 40 GB data bundle at only 149,000 shillings. Or buy the MTN WakaNet MiFi at only 75,000 shillings and enjoy a free 15 GB bundle to stream, study, work, and play on the go. Visit any MTN service center to buy the MTN WakaNet router or MiFi and enjoy the internet that does amazing things.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mood Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Uganda's oil and gas activities are undertaken in line with the updated environment legislation and benchmarked on international best practice standards in order to continuously ensure coexistence between the oil activities and Uganda's rich biodiversity. Following the award of the Environment and Social Impact Assessment certificates for the Kingfisher, Tilenga, and East African crude oil pipeline projects, various environmental and social management plans have also been developed to ensure sustainable development of the projects. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda is working with other regulatory bodies to monitor all oil and gas activities to enhance compliance and environment protection during oil activities. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Introducing the Infinix Note 30 series in partnership with Airtel Uganda, a smartphone where style meets functionality. Take charge of the day with special features like the 108 MP triple camera and 68 watts fast charge, and the best part is you can use this phone to charge other phones. You also will enjoy free 3 GB from Airtel every month for 3 months on each new device purchased. Dial *100#, select data and devices to get your free data. The Infinix Note 30 series Spark, a connection in partnership with Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Uganda's oil and gas projects are providing opportunities for Ugandan businesses. Between 2017 and 2022, 40% of the 3,800 procurements worth $4.4 billion were awarded to 460 Ugandan companies. This includes 41 community-based companies that have been awarded contracts worth $2.3 million. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, entities must register on the National Suppliers Database. Over 2,300 entities are registered on the National Suppliers Database. Registration is free. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
UBC News Tonight. Welcome back from the break, and thank you so much for watching. State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, has closed Mukono zonal land offices for after reports that the Principal Assistant Secretary, Doreen Katushabe, had turned the offices into a brokerage agency. Mayanja revealed that his incognito visit to Mukono was to ascertain the authenticity of the allegations against Katushabe.
The State Minister for Lands, Dr. Sam Mayanja, arrived in Mukono municipality on a fact-finding mission following disturbing reports that the Principal Assistant Secretary at Mukono zonal land offices, Doreen Katushabe, had turned the offices into brokerage agency. Mayanja, who first visited the resident district commissioner Mukono, Farida Nabitaka, had obtained reports that Mukono zonal land surveyors and registrars were acting contrary to the set rules and procedures of titling land and had resorted to creating titles in protected and restricted areas and issuing double titles to people.
Because whatever orders, eviction or otherwise, they have to go through the district security committee. That's how we operate.
Because I'm told it's too much security there, they can't access their Uganda anymore, and we have some food.
Mayanja, who first studied what goes on in the questionable office, cautioned surveyors and registrars he found in office about the titling of public land and issuance of titles in Lake Victoria, contrary to the prescribed guidelines and law.
How does it escape your attention?
I've never seen that here going through.
But people have titles in my record.
It comes to my desk. I make sure that...
a freehold title is given by who? Can an individual give a freehold title?
No, they apply.
They apply through the district board.
Yes.
Available reports to Minister Mayanja implicate officials at this office of ignoring the land information system and handling only files that are not reflected on the system. This has since culminated into the abuse of the survey registrar, leading to the creation of overlapping land interests.
And then freehold titles are given. Then those who are given the freehold titles, they get out leasehold titles. Then the leasehold titles on the same piece of land are taken to banks. The banks lend huge amounts of money, and yet that title against which they are taking as security is registered here, and your system doesn't show that there are already other three. There's a Mairo, there's a freehold, now there's a leasehold. Now if the banks lose confidence in the titles we have, it will be like Jesus' way of saying, when salt loses its saltness, how much salt will you put there?
and then we shall abolish the titles.
Following these disturbing reports, Minister Mayanja was left with no option but to close Mukono zonal land offices and also interdicted the Principal Assistant Secretary at the zonal offices. Doreen Katushabe. Mayanja has directed the State House Anti-Corruption Unit to investigate Doreen Katushabe on corruption allegation, fraud and abuse of office.
We will arrange to get the person will be acting so that you hand over properly, and that person will be here for as long as they are investigating, so that we get a clean investigation. The rest of the staff will remain. Ago I was in the north, I was in Noya, and I was told that MSOs there don't work at all. That people posted from Kampala, they don't go there. If they go, they work 1 day a week. And they're saying if people don't want to work in the north, why do you post them in the north? We are going to investigate this.
Stakeholders in Toro Kingdom, in partnership with Uganda AIDS Commission, have joined hands to strengthen communication strategies to minimize on the HIV burden in the region. The kingdom seeks to identify the HIV/AIDS hotspots and drivers for effective communication and prevention.
Data from Uganda AIDS Commission indicate that the HIV prevalence in Fort Portal City has increased by 2% since 2020.
Today we have convened leaders, sit down, look at why we are having increasing statistics in the city. We looked at how best we can do to reverse this situation.
Teenage pregnancy stands at 25% in girls between 19 years and below. Stakeholders attribute the burden to I don't care syndrome, especially among the youth who fear getting pregnant than acquiring HIV/AIDS. According to Stephen Chiyinji, the Prime Minister of Toro Kingdom, parents are also to blame for fearing to talk about sex to their children, which has put many adolescents at risk of HIV/AIDS.
Let's talk about AIDS. Talk about AIDS. Reverend, start with AIDS. Amagato, mutandikire hawuwele womniwele.
Among the interventions, the kingdom is set to establish plasma screens in public places like markets with prevention messages for behavior change.
So messages into to stay directly.
Dr. Richard Mugahi, the Assistant Commissioner Reproductive Health at the Ministry of Health, expressed the need for repackaging of messages geared towards eliminating HIV infection rates.
There is need to renew or repackage our messages, make them more impactful, make them more directed towards behavior change. As we all know that behavior change is the major aspect of making sure that we don't get new infections. And that is the area that we are going to focus on. We have technical people who will work with Uganda AIDS Commission.
The HIV prevalence rate in 5 of the 8 districts in Rwenzori region is higher than the national prevalence, with new infections higher in females than the male counterparts. Mariana Wori and Bridget Kabahenda, UBC.
Mulago National Referral Hospital has started on advanced interventional radiology procedures to diagnose and treat diseases like cancer, trauma, among tropical diseases. Dr. Rosemary Byanyima, the acting executive director of Mulago National Referral Hospital, said that scaling up on the range of super specialized services will also be taken to other regional referral hospitals soon. So far, the hospital works on 25 patients per day who require specialized interventional radiology procedure.
That's why we need to see.
As Mulago National Referral Hospital continues to scale up on the range of super specialized services, this week the hospital started on advanced interventional radiology. Interventional radiology is a medical subspecialty of radiology, utilizes minimally invasive image-guided procedures to diagnose and treat diseases like cancer, trauma, among others. Dr. Rosemary Byanyima, the acting executive director, says, with technological advancements continuing to drive the growth of interventional radiology, the future looks bright for the exciting and highly impactful medical specialty. The experts say procedures have less risk, less pain and short recovery. Within 30 minutes, the patient can walk home.
The hospital having undergone remodeling and re-equipping, we thought we should now be in position to upscale and do more complex interventional procedures. And we are happy that we have partners we are working with in order that we scale up this. And the hospital is ready to even advance in the technologies we use. Now, for now, we are using ultrasound, we are using fluoroscopy, we are using C-arm, we are using CT. But in the near future, we shall have a fully-fledged interventional suite where such procedures will be worked on. And we thank the government of Uganda that continues to finance this hospital.
Radiologists reveal that Uganda will be the 6th country in Africa to carry out the advanced interventional radiology. Other countries include South Africa, Kenya, Morocco, Egypt, and Tanzania. Once the procedure kicks off, it will reduce on abroad referrals.
In the long run, it's actually cheaper for our patients. This is because we are able to do the procedure immediately in one sitting. The patient doesn't have to go back and wait for theater. We don't plan for theater. There's no anesthesia. If the patient is not able to be worked on in the country, they will fly out. They will pay money for the air tickets, they will pay money for accommodation where they are going, and then they will pay for the service that they are going to get. But when we have the service here in the country, we are able to do these procedures very, very cheaply compared to what the patient would have spent if they were going away. So this week alone, we've been able to see at least 23 patients every day in the clinic. And out of those that we see, we sort out the procedures we do. We've done multiple procedures. We've done patients who needed biopsies. We've done drainages, abscess drainages. We've done nephrostomies. We've done percutaneous transhepatic biliary drainages. So we are able to do a number of procedures.
With advanced medical imaging technology and specialized equipment, interventional radiologists can provide patients with safe and effective treatments that minimize the risk associated with traditional open surgery.
But he's going to walk out of here after he has recovered fully. He has already told you he's fair. So we put them in the recovery for a few, like 1 hour. We observe his pain mainly, and then if this catheter, you can see it's still bringing what? Pus, eh? Yeah, some blood thing shouldn't be more than this. So if blood is more than the pus, that's not a good sign. So before he walks home, there should be more pus than the what? The blood stain. He's going to walk away.
Zahara Abigawa, UBC News.
We go for another short break. Please keep it with us.
Dear Airtel customer, we know that there are days when unexpected stays in hospital stand in the way of your family's welfare. That is why Hospital Center is here to give you up to 100,000 shillings every night you spend in hospital. Hospital Center also offers up to 4 million in funeral benefit. Dial *185*7*6# to purchase Hospital Center on Airtel Money for as little as 1,000, 3,000 or 5,000 shillings a month. Your cover for the first 1 month is free. Hospital Center is underwritten by Prudential and powered by Turaco. Prudential and Turaco are regulated by the Insurance Regulatory Authority of Uganda. Airtel Money is regulated by the Bank of Uganda.
Do you need data collection services, data analysis and reporting, monitoring and evaluation systems? Then contact Mold Technologies, a professional research firm that has provided many organizations with timely research solutions for over 15 years. For more information, visit www.mt.co.ug or call us on 0704 913 399 or 0782 602 963. Visit our office in Kampala at Sayuni Complex in Tinda. Mood Technologies, your professional research firm.
Sebo.
Yes?
This is the bill.
What?
Malaria testing, 10,000. Treatment, 100,000 since we put on drip.
Hey, Musao, can you read this for me? Before I brought my wife here, I'd already spent money on buying herbal medicine and drugs from the pharmacy, which didn't work.
But Sebo, the government gave out mosquito nets. Doesn't your family use them?
We got the mosquito nets, but they got holes and we didn't know what to do.
Protect your loved ones from malaria. Sew your mosquito nets whenever they get damaged to keep the mosquitoes away. Ensure all nets are tied up every morning to avoid damaging them. Ensure that everyone in your family sleeps under a treated mosquito net every night, whether it is a cold or hot season. Together, we can chase malaria out of Uganda. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from Global Fund.
No malaria will catch.
Hello, darling.
Hi, Granny.
What did you do this weekend?
Well, on Friday, I went on a science trip with my classmates to Windy to see the gorillas.
Then we watched the Cup final in London. On Saturday, my friends and I met up to hunt some dragons again. Also, I taught the vacuum cleaner and the TV this new dance everyone's doing. They're really getting into it. And on Sunday, I went to bed watching the world from space.
With Airtel 5G's lightning-fast speeds and seamless connectivity, you won't believe what's next.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
We thank you so much for watching and welcome you back from the break. Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, Betty Amongi, has warned employers who do not remit the mandatory NSSF contributions to the Provident Fund and also local government leaders who do not adhere or ensure compliance to labour laws supposed to be enforced by designated labour officers across the country that they risk facing legal sanctions or even lose their jobs. Amongi, who is on the sensitization tour of northern and eastern Uganda mobilizing for mandatory and voluntary savings, also revealed that she won't be timid by legal undertakings by the former MD of the National Social Security Fund, Richard Berugaba, who has petitioned court seeking for his reinstatement as MD of the NSSF until the IGG disposes of the matter before her chambers. I beg your pardon.
The Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development has organized a one-day training for local government leaders and labour inspectors from northern Uganda on NSSF compliance process. In the training, Minister Betty Amongi warned employers who do not remit the mandatory NSSF contributions to the Provident Fund and also local government leaders who do not adhere or ensure compliance to labour laws supposed to be enforced by designated labour officers across the country.
With the World Bank termination of new financing, some of which were projects that were already earmarked for socio-economic transformation, it is now paramount that we mobilize internal saving.
She also warned labour officers on falling prey of corrupt employers who force them to ignore cases of non-compliancy and harassment at workplaces.
So with the new expanded mandate, we now realize that it is important to bring the labour inspectors on board it is important to bring the RDCs, the RCCs, the LC5, so that we work together as a government to drive this new mandate that the Amendment Act 2022 has given.
The NSSF is looking to grow savings by about 200% from 18 trillion to about 50 trillion shillings by 2025. Compliance is still a problem, according to Fund Head Human Resource.
There are quite a number of employers in the country who, unfortunately, still deduct the 5% member contribution instead of topping it up with their 10% contribution as employers, so that they remit the 15% to NSSF. A number of employers, for reasons best known to them, deduct the employee's contribution and they do not remit any to NSSF.
Despite this projection, Minister Among revealed that she won't be moved by legal undertakings of former NSSF Managing Director Richard Byalugaba, who is in court seeking for his reinstatement as Managing Director of NSSF, unless the Inspector General of Government disposes of the matter before her chambers, in which Byalugaba is accused of mismanaging the fund.
Unless it concludes the issue with IGG as an appointing authority, I cannot handle his matter, because he has chosen to contest the IGG's report, and once he decides to contest the IGG's report, he has to first finish with the IGG before I come in.
Byalugava's application, filed by Biencha, Chihika and Company advocates, awaits allocation to a judge for the upcoming hearing. The NSSF has over 2 million members and assets worth 17 trillion shillings. Jane Nuramchia, Andrew Sebira, UBC News.
Seed companies have advised farmers to invest in quality seed and chemicals in order to maximize production.
Yash F1 is a recent variety of watermelon that is sold by Agrofaith Inputs. Each ready watermelon weighs between 8 to 10 kilograms. Florence Muthi, a marketing officer with Bayer Seminis Africa, a leading seed company, says the Yash F1 variety accommodates the basic agronomic practices and at all areas.
Partner with Agro Inputs to bring the newest hybrid melon variety, Yash F1. Yash F1, so what's in Yash F1 for the farmers and for our consumers? You find the fruits for the Yash F1, they are big. So if you are a grower and you know that we sell watermelon by kgs, with our fruits you'll get 10 kgs and above from the fruits of Yash F1. So it means more kilos, more money for the grower.
Meanwhile, Victoria Seeds in Namamve features the Majesty cabbage that weighs over 3 kilograms. The variety is tolerant to wilt and is highly productive. Diana Joke of Victoria Seeds says farmers should take interest in cabbage F1 Majesty.
It has a long shelf life after harvest of around 2 weeks. It weighs between 3 to 6 kilograms. It's resistant to diseases.
Tomatoes are affected by very many diseases, but for this tomato it can stand and it can fight diseases.
Aviana Francisco, UBC News.
We now talk sports news tonight. Uganda's national female volleyball team head coach Tone Lakony is optimistic that the girls will put up a steady show at the Africa Women's Volleyball Championship that starts on Wednesday in Cameroon. The team safely arrived on Monday evening and has held its first training session with all players in an upbeat mood ahead of the championship. Uganda returns to the African Women's Volleyball Championship for the first time since 2007, when it finished 9th in the neighboring Kenya. Coach Tony Lakony, who is assisted by Mariam Nakamanya, has 12 of the best Uganda has in women's version of the game. These include Eunice Emuron, Margaret Namialo, Maureen Mwamula, Habib Namala, Naomi Auma, Jennifer Alungat, Flavia Umhoza, and Catherine Ainem Babazi. The championship has already confirmed more than 25 countries, including perennial pre-tournament favorites, Egypt, Tunisia, and Kenya. By news time, the drawing of teams to determine groups and mode of play were yet to be done. The winner will progress to the World Championship from this event, which is part of a bigger pathway to earn qualification into major global competitions. Thank you so much for watching. That way we come to the end of our first edition of UBC News tonight. We'll catch you again at 10 p.m. My name is Micheal Lukomwa with Elizabeth Nakakuni and the whole team. We'll leave you with Kalema Benon here, who has the weather forecast update.
Please dial *201# and follow the prompts. I'm Kalema Benon. Looking at the weather in the past 24 hours, there was rainfall in some areas, while at some other areas had sunny intervals. Looking at the satellite image over Africa, we see that there is a combination of the position of the rain belt together with the local effect of Lake Victoria that is causing us this kind of weather. Looking at the forecast tomorrow, we see that in the central we'll wake up with a sunny intervals in areas around Nakasongola, areas around Masaka and Mubende, while Kampala is forecasted to have isolated showers. In the western, we forecast the whole stretch from Masindi to Kabale to have sunny intervals, while in the eastern, we forecast sunny conditions in areas around Toroti, and Jinja Tororo are forecasted to have isolated showers. In the northern, we forecast the whole stretch to have sunny intervals, that is from Arua to the stretch of Kotido and Moroto. In the afternoon, we see development of rainfall in areas around Nakasongola and Mubende, with temperatures ranging from 28 degrees Celsius in Nakasongola to 27 degrees Celsius in Mubende, while Kampala and Masaka are forecasted to have sunny intervals and temperatures ranging from 27 to 28 degrees Celsius. In the western, we forecast rainfall in areas around Masindi and temperature of 30 degrees Celsius, while Kasese, Mbarara, and Kabale are forecasted to have sunny intervals and temperatures ranging from 25 degrees Celsius in Kabale to 32 degrees Celsius in Kasese. In the eastern, we forecast rainfall in the Soroti and temperature of 32 degrees Celsius, while Jinja and Tororo are forecasted to have sunny intervals and temperature ranging from 29 degrees Celsius. In the afternoon, in the northern, we forecast rainfall in areas around Arua and temperature of 30 degrees Celsius, while the rest of the northern is forecasted to have sunny intervals and temperatures ranging from 31 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. In the world cities, we forecast London, Beijing to have sunny intervals and temperatures ranging from 25 degrees Celsius in London, while Beijing will have 34 degrees Celsius. Dubai is having sunny intervals with a maximum temperature of 43 degrees Celsius, while Cairo will have sunny conditions and maximum temperature of 35 degrees Celsius. Nairobi as well will have sunny intervals and a maximum temperature of 25 degrees Celsius. Thank you for watching UBC. Please stay tuned. Shalom.
UBC, inspiring Uganda. This week on UBC.
I found out that my sister, who I follow, got pregnant when she was 15. Oh, really? Oh, yes. So this Christmas, I go home, I reach there, I'm not seeing my sister. I ask, okay, where is my sister? They said, oh, your sister got spoiled in Ankole. It is a curse by that time for a girl to get pregnant before she gets married. So they will separate her from the family. And then I was forced to go look for her at Senga's place to just see how she looks. I was told that she was raped. I hated men throughout my journey of education because I saw what my sister went through. She feels even when you're showing her the right direction, it is because you went through school.
And for her, she stopped there.
She is the founder of Dependable Foundation.
Oh, yeah.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Directorate of Industrial Training, redefining the essence of education, practical skills for sustainable development, the ultimate solution to unemployment.